This question says that we have a mass attached to an oscillating spring back and forth. It oscillates back and forth, and is indicated by a position versus time graph. And we have position on our y-axis and time on our x-axis. At point P, the mass has what type of acceleration? It's a little bit of a tricky question. It requires us to think of slopes, because I know that my velocity is a change of position over change of time. dx, dt, if you like the calculus version. I also know that the acceleration is the change of velocity with respect to time, or dv dt, which happens to be the change of the change. In calculus, we would write this as dx squared dt squared, or d squared x dt squared, the second derivative, or the slope of the slope. So really, it tells what we want to find on this one is the acceleration is going to tell me how fast the slope of this line is changing. Well, if I look at this point just before it, it has a positive slope. The point, it gets a little bit less steep. As I go through each of these points, it's going from a steep value to less steep to less steep, and eventually is going to be going down. So the slope of these things gets less and less and less, which means that it's slowing down. And if an object has, and the slope is positive, right? The slope is greater than 0, but that slope is getting lower and lower and lower, which means it's decreasing in value, so it's slowing down. The slope being greater than 0 gives me a positive velocity at P, but the slowing down means that we have a negative acceleration at point P. So our acceleration is negative. And if you were actually to draw out these graphs, you'll find that as this thing crosses this point right here, this x equals 0, it has its fastest speed right there. And it's going to kind of go up, pause, and then come back down, right? It goes up to some position here. At this very top point, the slope goes to 0, which means its speed goes to 0. So if here it had a positive speed, here it had a negative speed, or not negative, here it had a positive speed, here it had a 0 speed, it had to slow down in the middle.